everyone. Welcome back to our literature summary series of important scientific publications in allergy immunology. Today, we'll talk about part 2 of Dr. Hugh Wyndham's publication. If you haven't seen part 1, click the link in the description. Let's get started.
Welcome back, everyone. I don't know about you, but my mind is still blown from that whole cross-reactivity thing.
It's pretty wild, huh?
It really is. But let's shift gears a bit and get practical for a minute.
Okay.
Like, for our listener who's all about taking action, what are the key takeaways from all this?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway is that multi-food OIT, it's not just some experimental thing anymore, you know?
It's actually happening.
Yeah, it's a real treatment that more and more doctors are starting to offer.
So it's not just a theory. It's out there in the real world.
Exactly. And as the research continues, I think we're going to see it become even more common.
That's great news for people with multiple allergies.
It really is. It offers so much hope.
Hope for a future where they don't have to be constantly worried about like accidental exposures and reactions.
Exactly. A future where they can actually enjoy those foods.
Yeah, that's the dream, right?
It is.
But we also need to be realistic, right? Multi-food OIT, it's not a quick fix.
No, it's definitely a commitment.
And we talked about that burnout factor earlier. It's something to be mindful of.
For sure. And that's why it's so crucial for patients and families to have open communication with their healthcare team, you know?
Make sure everyone's on board.
Yeah. Everyone needs to be on the same page about the benefits, the risks, and what it actually takes to make this work.
It's a team effort.
It really is.
Now, speaking of teams, for anyone out there who's thinking about multi-food OIT, what are some key things to keep in mind?
Okay. Well, first and foremost, find a clinic with tons of experience in single food OIT, you know?
Do your research.
Exactly. This is complex stuff, and you want someone who knows what they're doing.
Find an expert.
Absolutely. Second, even though it's shorter than doing separate therapies, it still takes time.
Yeah, no quick fixes here.
Right. Daily dosing, monitoring, appointments. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Patience is key.
Yes. And third, be flexible.
Okay. Flexible how?
Every person is different, so the treatment plan might need to be tweaked along the way based on how you're responding.
So be ready to adjust.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. And it's important to remember that multi-food OIT is still a relatively new field, right?
It is.
There's still a lot we're learning.
So much. And that's why it's important to stay up to date on the latest research.
Where's a good place for our listener to find reliable information about multi-food OIT?
The American Academy of Allergy, Asthma, and Immunology, the AAAI, is a great resource.
Okay, AAI.
And then also the American College of Allergy, Asthma, and Immunology, ACAI.
Perfect. We'll be sure to link those in the show notes.
Awesome.
Now, before we move on, I want to touch on something we mentioned earlier, but I think it deserves a little more attention.
Yeah.
The potential downsides of multi-food OIT.
You mean the risks and challenges?
Exactly. We've talked about all of the benefits, but we got to be real with our listener, you know?
Of course. It's important to have a balanced perspective.
So what are some things to be cautious about?
Well, one tricky thing is that if a reaction does happen, it can be harder to pinpoint which food caused it because you're dealing with multiple allergens at once.
Oh, that makes sense. Like too many suspects.
Right. And because you're exposed to more allergens overall, there's a chance of having more frequent reactions or maybe more intense reactions compared to single food OIT.
Okay, so those are definitely things to consider.
They are.
And even with all the right precautions in place, there's still a chance that someone just might not tolerate the combined treatment, right?
Unfortunately, that's true.
And in those cases, they would probably have to switch back to separate OIT courses for each food.
Yeah, sometimes that's necessary.
Okay, so it's not foolproof.
It's not.
But even if someone does have to switch back, they would still have saved some time and money by trying the multi-food approach initially, right?
Exactly.
So it's not a total loss.
Nope.
Is there anything else we should mention about the challenges? Anything our listeners should be aware of?
One thing that the research brings up is this idea of patient or family burnout. You know,
Fair enough, yeah.
multi-food OIT is more efficient, but it still requires a lot of daily effort, like taking the doses, monitoring symptoms, making changes to your lifestyle, and that can be tiring for everyone involved.
Especially for busy families with young kids.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So that's a really important point.
It is.
And it highlights the need for really good communication and support between the doctor, the patient, and the family.
Absolutely. Everyone needs to be on the same team.
Working together.
Exactly.
Okay, so to sum it up, multi-food OIT is a really promising way to treat multiple allergies at once, but it's not without its risks and challenges.
Well said.
It has the potential to be life-changing, but it requires careful planning, close monitoring, and open communication.
Couldn't agree more.
This has been so insightful, and I feel like we've just scratched the surface of this whole field.
I know, right? There's so much more to explore.
But before we get carried away, I want to bring it back to our listener for a second.
Okay.
What's like the one thing you want them to walk away with today?
I want them to know that if they or someone they care about is struggling with multiple food allergies, there's hope.
There's hope.
Multi-food OIT is a game changer, and it has the potential to transform lives.
It might not be a cure, but it's a step in the right direction.
Absolutely. And while there are challenges, the potential rewards are huge.
So if you're curious about multi-food OIT, the best thing to do is talk to your allergist.
Yeah, they can help you figure out if it's a good fit for you.
And remember, knowledge is power. The more you know about your allergies and the treatments that are out there, the better equipped you'll be to make those decisions.
Well said.
Well, that brings us to the end of part 2 of our deep dive into multi-food oral immunotherapy.
Already. Time flies when you're having fun.
I know. But don't worry, we'll be back soon for part 3, where we'll explore some even more cutting-edge research and dive into the future of this exciting field.
I can't wait.
In the meantime, we want to hear from you. What questions do you have about multi-food OIT? What are your hopes and concerns?
Share your thoughts with us.
And we're back for the final part of our deep dive into multi-food OIT.
It's been a wild ride, huh?
It really has. You know, in the last part, you mentioned the idea of multi-food OIT becoming more personalized, and I think that's super interesting.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's definitely where things are headed.
So what would that actually look like in practice?
Well, instead of a one-size-fits-all approach, doctors could tailor the treatment to each individual patient, you know?
So like a custom-made plan for your allergies.
Exactly. Like your doctor could take into account your genetic makeup, how severe your allergies are, even your lifestyle.
Oh, wow. So it's not just about the food anymore.
Right. It's about understanding the whole person.
That sounds pretty futuristic. Is that even realistic with current technology?
It's closer than you might think. Personalized medicine is already happening in other areas, like cancer treatment.
Oh, interesting.
So it's only a matter of time before we see those same advances in allergy care.
So one day we might be able to predict how someone will respond to multi-food OIT based on their genes.
That's the goal. And as we learn more about the immune system, we're getting closer and closer to making that a reality.
It's amazing to think that we could move beyond just treating allergies and start actually preventing them.
I know, right? That's the holy grail.
So what's being done on that front? Any promising research?
Oh, yeah, definitely. There's a lot of research going on right now looking at biomarkers in infants that could predict their risk of developing food allergies.
Oh, wow. So you could potentially intervene before the allergies even develop.
Exactly. Early intervention is key.
That would be a game changer. So we've gone from the basics of multi-food OIT to this incredible future where personalized treatment and prevention might be possible. It's been quite a journey.
It really has.
But before we officially wrap things up, I want to leave our listener with something to think about. If you had a magic wand and could make one major advancement in the field of multi-food OIT, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a tough one. If I had that magic wand, I would create a test that could predict exactly how someone would respond to multi-food OIT.
Like a crystal ball for allergies.
Exactly. A simple blood test that could tell us which allergens to include, the perfect dose, and how likely the treatment is to be successful.
Wow, that would be revolutionary.
It would take away so much of the guesswork and allow us to personalize treatment in a whole new way.
It's a pretty incredible vision. Well, on that note of hope and exciting possibilities, we're going to wrap up this deep dive into multi-food oral immunotherapy. A huge thank you to our expert for joining us and sharing their incredible knowledge.
Thank you for having me. It's been a blast.
And to our amazing listeners, thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery. We hope you learned something new and feel empowered to take control of your health. Remember, knowledge is power. And we'll see you next time on the Deep Dive.
This is an overview of oral immunotherapy, particularly for numerous food allergies. Multi-food OIT. This literature summary is AI-generated based on actual scientific publication in a scientific journal. This briefing conversation provides a summary of the key themes and findings. For a comprehensive understanding, please refer to the original source document. If you enjoy this topic, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We are Allergies. See you in the next video.